Cameron Smith's homecoming tour for the Australian Open was supposed to be the stuff of dreams. After all, he'd just had one of the biggest years of his career yet. But it seems like the LIV man wasn't taking his golf as seriously as many would have wanted, cause after a night of drinking, he failed to make the cut. In today's video, we're going to talk about Smith's failure and more, so keep watching.
Most amateur golfers are opposite. They stare at the ball and they have a quick, look at that.
First up, Smith misses the cut after a night of drinking. The Australian Open was the big 2022 event for golf fans down under because of all the top talent coming over to play in the country for the first time in years. Still, the real attraction was always Cam Smith. Not only has he had a mega year after winning the British Open, but his LIV Golf move is also more significant than most realize. Like, he is without a doubt on a trajectory to match Greg Norman in terms of popularity. So, of course, when he arrived on the course to make the first ever Australian Open Sunday cut, he was engulfed in a sea of fans. Seriously, the walk from the 9th green to the scoring area is around 100 meters at the Victoria Golf Club. And as the world number 3 made that walk, his path was lined with a massive number of fans just trying to catch a glimpse of this absolute star. In fact, some people even tried to climb a TV tower to get a look at him. Yeah, he's that popular. Sadly though, things didn't go exactly according to plan for Smith, as he ended up disappointing the hundreds of people who were there to see him, and more importantly, himself. The 29-year-old just couldn't get into the groove after his 7 a.m. start and missed the cut to head into the next round. And while people feared that he'd perhaps lost his mojo or something, the actual reason behind it was way simpler. He'd just had way too many beers on Friday night. Up next, Smith rused the missed opportunity. One thing that we've got to remember is that golfers these days aren't exactly used to 7 a.m. starts. Like back in the day, during Norman's golden days, this was still very much a thing. So apparently, Cam Smith didn't quite realize he had to wake up so early on Saturday either. Well, at least not until it was already too late. The world number 3 admitted that he was pretty quick to the pub after Friday, but forgot to keep a gauge on his drinking. And before he knew it, he was a few too many beers deep. What's more, the pub trips have been a constant since his homecoming a couple of weeks ago, so he didn't think much of it. Besides, when you return home after a couple of years on the road, there's no harm in watching the races at Moonee Valley and chugging some alcohol with your pals, right? Turns out there is, because even though Smith did go back home earlier and downed some water to wake up without any hangovers the following morning, it didn't really bring him up to 100%. The 29-year-old talked about how he thought he had it in him and even hit lots of good golf shots. Still, there was just that extra bit of edge lacking in his game, which is why he couldn't capitalize on some of his better drives. As a result, this capped off a very dull week on the course for the British Open champion, as he finished outside the top 50, something that's insanely rare for someone of his quality. Coming up, Smith's still happy about his homecoming. Now, it's been a long year for our mulleted superstar, as he's not only played a ton of events, but he's also dealt with all the controversy and drama of joining the Saudi League. Not to mention, he's won 5 events this season and has earned more than $20 million in prize money. Oh, and this number doesn't include the massive $140 million paycheck he got for joining LIV Golf. The point is, he's done enough to not let this Australian Open failure sting him too much. And now it's about time he relaxed for a bit and recouped his energy in preparation for the next season. Speaking to the media at the Victoria Golf Club, he said he's been extremely busy for the last 12 months, so he really hasn't had the time to just sit down and think about his achievements. That said, he doesn't have any tournaments to complete until next year, meaning he can thoroughly enjoy Christmas with his family again. In fact, the world number 3 admitted that he's looking forward to a lazy week. Still, the Aussie isn't going to slack off before the 2023 season. Cameron Smith has a long year ahead of him, so despite the fact that he's going to be relaxing on Christmas Day, he's going to have to get up soon after and start prepping for next season. Of course, that doesn't only mean training his body, as the mind is just as important for a golfer. That's why he's got plans of going out to the river for a couple of days and just fishing in silence. Funnily enough, he did mention that he's going to do it in the quote-unquote bigger boat he treated himself to as a reward for a great year, cause that's still parked in Florida. That being said, some time in the gym is also on the 29-year-old's agenda, as according to him, it was one of the major reasons why he got so close to that world number 1 spot in the first place. Obviously, that feat isn't really possible with the ranking point restrictions for LIV Golf, but still, he's prepared prepared to repeat last year's blueprint to defend his British Open title and have another serious go at the Masters as well. What's more, the Aussie also talked about how he's got a tendency to get a bit lazy at times, so if he just continues to focus on what he's been doing lately, he's going to be all right. Smith then bookended his press interview by saying that he's really looking forward to what he can bring to the table next year, and that hopefully he can keep improving and have many more awesome years like 2022. Moving on, Cameron Smith defends LIV chief Greg Norman. Alright, so after a few weeks of calm and peace, it seems like the whole LIV versus PGA Tour debate has whipped up again, and this time it's gotten kinda personal, as both Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy have called for Greg Norman's resignation just so they could get a truce going. Of course, with the amount of work Norman's done for the league and how successful it's been, we don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Still, if you wanted one of his own to come to his defense, then Cam Smith has got you covered. Speaking in an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, the 29-year-old said the LIV CEO believes in what he does, and even though he can perhaps come off as a bit abrasive, he's just trying to get the point across. Now, obviously, the Aussie legend's erratic behavior is one of the reasons why the tour wants to get rid of him, as according to them, he's just too immature to sit down and seriously talk about peace. For Smith, however, there's no better candidate for the LIV job, cause not only does Norman fully believe in the product, but his methods are actually working. Like you've just gotta look at the circuit's finale in Miami. Smith said that the atmosphere was awesome and the turnout was also unbelievable. So sure, they've gone about things a little differently as far as the sporting side is concerned, but you can't argue with the fact that people love what they're doing. Finally, Smith opens up about his world golf ranking. The Aussie has easily been one of the best golfers on the planet this year. Despite all the great work he's done, however, he's still slipped down from number 2 to number 3 in the world golf rankings. Why? Well, because the OWGR doesn't give any ranking points to LIV Golf members, which of course has been a major point of contention over the past few months. That being said, even though Smith probably doesn't like dropping down the order, it doesn't really bother him much either. In fact, for him, it's kinda unbelievable he's still 3rd on the list after not getting a single point in so many months. For him, the ratings are just going to get more irrelevant as time goes on, especially since a lot of top talent is coming over to the breakaway league. Besides, people are just going to stop looking at the ratings because after a certain period, their favorite golfers aren't going to be on the list anymore. Still, Smith said that he's playing some really solid golf and should be moving up the rankings for it. So even if he's not that bothered by it, it's still quote-unquote a bit of a pain in the bum. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think LIV Golf players should get ranking points in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.